One of China's most important traditional holidays, the Mid-Autumn Festival, has just passed, and the price of mooncakes has plummeted. Reports from the mooncake market state that mooncakes that were priced at 16 yuan on the festival day are now sold for just 1 yuan the next, and within a day, even 1 yuan is too much to sell them. In a video, a mooncake vendor, who was possibly overwhelmed by emotion, can be seen throwing boxes of mooncakes into the street while shouting loudly, it's free, no charge anymore, everything is free. His friends and family nearby appear uneasy and try to stop him, continuously advising him, stop throwing them. Some even attempt to grab him, but he ignores them, laughing uncontrollably and throwing even harder. More and more people gather around. At first, they don't understand what's happening, but soon they begin picking up the mooncakes. Despite the ongoing economic downturn in China, the authorities have ramped up propaganda before the sensitive fourth plenary session of the Communist Party, claiming that the economy is flourishing. A vlogger dissatisfied with the official announcement of a national average salary of 10,700 yuan expressed his anger. Honestly, when I saw the number 10,700 yuan as the average salary, I couldn't hold back my tears. What kind of people are you? My salary is just over 3,000 yuan, and you managed to drag my salary up to 5 digits? Before entering the workforce, my homeroom teacher often said I brought down everyone's average score. After starting work, you practically gave me a free pass, yet I'm still lagging behind. We're all in the same country, yet the wealth gap is so vast. I used to think that a salary of 3,000 yuan was considered a decent living, but I now realize I'm just surviving on the minimum. The dire economic situation has made life increasingly difficult for many, with Chinese people openly mocking the authorities' propaganda.
What kind of
mindset can lead you to imagine that you are 100 years ahead of the US? 10 years ago, I worked at this factory 12-hour shifts, no breaks. Even bathroom trips were timed to 3 minutes. No matter how glorious your history, how advanced you claim to be, or how much you accuse others of using slaves and being barbaric, what does it mean? In the end, they somehow ended up being 1,000 years ahead. Why do you always bring up history and old grudges when talking about Japan? Why don't you talk about whether migrant workers are paid on time? Why don't you talk about 12-hour shifts? How about caring for the present and the people around you? Stop talking about ancient history. This person still hasn't yet touched on the core issue, that the ancient Chinese and the current Communist Party have no connection. The true state of China's economy today is shocking. Many citizens say that while they have a kind heart, they lack the power to save others. In a surveillance video uploaded by a restaurant owner, she recounts,
A group of customers paid and left, but the table wasn't cleared yet when suddenly a young man walked in, sat down and started eating the leftovers. He devoured the food quickly, looking as if he hadn't eaten in a long time. If you didn't observe closely, you would have thought he was part of that group. The staff noticed when they were clearing the table but didn't intervene. That's when I realized he wasn't with the previous group.
She was surprised to see him eating in such a disheveled manner, despite wearing clean clothes, feeling a bit uneasy. She guessed he must have encountered some unforeseeable trouble. The owner offered to make him a fried rice dish separately, advising him not to eat the leftovers, but he repeatedly waved her off, saying he didn't need it. She felt heartbroken, wondering just how desperate someone must be to act this way. In the end, she gave him something to drink. In another video, a delivery driver, after completing a small order, a total of 3 yuan for climbing 8 flights of stairs, broke down emotionally. 3 yuan for climbing 8 floors, he repeated, hitting himself in the face in frustration, continuing to slap his face repeatedly for several moments. Another delivery driver, drenched in sweat, returned home after 2 hours saying, I only made 33 yuan today. While waiting at a red light, there are 4 or 5 other drivers. It's so competitive now. They're all delivery drivers. I really can't keep up. This week, it feels like I can't even get an order. As soon as one appears, it's taken. It's so hard to make money. The food delivery industry, once seen as grueling but well-paying, is now overcrowded and terribly competitive. Meanwhile, high-end places, once thought to be unaffected by such issues, are now facing changes as well. In another video, a manager at a male host club reprimanded his staff. How many of you are really qualified? This is what a male host should do, right? When the customer's glass is empty, shouldn't you fill it? If the customer goes to the restroom, shouldn't you be waiting with a tissue at the door? What are you doing? You're in the service industry. Simply put, you're just high-end servers who happen to be good-looking. Don't think so highly of yourselves. You have a job to do, and you should do it right. Otherwise, customers will be wasting their money here. If they can't get the service they get elsewhere here, then why would they come? I think these are all basics. I heard a customer say that the VIP rooms in Shanghai's male host clubs no longer allow smoking. If you want to smoke, go outside. During China's 8-day National Day holiday, the highways and major tourist sites were packed. Despite the record number of people traveling, hotel and homestay owners, along with travel agency bosses, lamented, saying that although the crowds were large, they weren't making any money, but rather losing it.
今天国庆最后一天啊，总结一下杂技。
This is the last day of the National Day holiday. Let me summarize the outcome. It ended on a bleak note. Never open a homestay in Dali. You'll end up losing everything. The well-known influencer Financial Gossip Girl in China, which focuses on China's financial circles, insider news, and trending topics, reported feedback from 3 business owners in China. These owners, who run hotels, homestays, and travel agencies in different areas of China, all revealed that their businesses suffered losses during this year's National Day holiday. Offering discounts and lowering prices, along with extremely low occupancy rates, became the norm. What was most disheartening was that, overnight, almost all tourists disappeared, and this was a widespread trend. One hotel near a popular tourist area in Guangdong had an occupancy rate of only 30%. The owner, Mr. Chung, explained that Typhoon Matmo hit Guangdong during the holidays, causing rainy weather from October 1st to the 6th, which cover the main travel period. This essentially impacted the peak days for travel. He explained that many tourists canceled their bookings. He said that he was anxious every day, unable to sleep. During the holiday, he was busy adjusting prices. It became normal to adjust prices 8 times a day using price adjustment software, pre-sale packages, TikTok, and member channels. Yet, they still couldn't escape the high cancellation rates. Mr. Chung explained that weather is just one factor. Many people didn't plan on staying at hotels. A lot of tourists are very frugal. If they can avoid spending money, they will. If they can spend less, they will. In the end, despite his efforts, he was left with nothing but wasted effort and losses. Mr. Bing, who runs a homestay in Lijiang, Yunnan, also mentioned that after calculating the revenue for the holiday, his homestay took a huge loss. He explained that his homestay was in a prime location with 10 rooms. Following past practice, he raised the price of each room to over 1,500 yuan before the holiday. However, seeing that the market situation was not good, he quickly discounted the price from over 1,500 yuan to around 700 yuan. Even with this, the situation was still grim. Upon reviewing, Mr. Bing found that there were simply too many homestays in Lijiang, leading to severe competition. On October 2nd and 3rd, the occupancy rate was still above 75%, but by October 4th and 5th, it quickly dropped to below 30%. Mr. Bing said he invested over 1 million yuan into upgrading the interior decor of his homestay, hoping to make a significant profit during the National Day holiday. However, the disappointing results far exceeded his expectations. He had originally thought the 10 rooms would definitely be fully booked. The reality is that while Lijiang's streets and alleys were full of tourists, it seemed most of them were travelers who rented their own cars, and fewer people were opting for homestays. Mr. Bing predicts that 2025 will certainly be a year of significant losses. Mr. Jie, the owner of a small travel agency offering tours to grasslands, deserts, and Gobi landscapes in Gansu and Qinghai, has been extremely anxious over the lackluster business during this year's long holiday. At just under 40 years old, he says his hair has started turning white due to stress. He said that business has been dismal, with only a few bookings during the holiday. Most of the tourists are self-driving and don't need our services. Many people sleep in their cars, and some set up tents right next to the camping grounds or in the parking lot of tourist areas. Reports suggest that, in the current economic climate, even during the National Day holiday, tourists are increasingly intolerant of high prices. According to e-commerce Meituan's platform statistics, users typically browse an average of 4.3 platforms and compare 12 hotels before making a booking decision. Forget about price hikes. Even a 20 yuan difference compared to a neighboring hotel can lead to an immediate spike in cancellations. Given this, the question arises, what is the consumption level of this year's holiday travelers? The answer might be shocking.
可以说是非常火爆啊。
This year, during the National Day holiday, many places saw their highest foot traffic since the pandemic. But here's an interesting statistic. The overall per capita spending was incredibly low. so low that in many tourist spots, per capita spending was only 1 to 5 yuan. Can you imagine that? This means excluding the ticket prices, a person in a scenic spot might only spend 1 to 5 yuan. Some people might not spend anything at all. The most interesting part? Family trips, which account for 25% to 30% of visitors, are responsible for 45% of the spending. In other words, it's the children carrying the spending load, which is quite surprising, isn't it? During the National Day holiday, the restaurant industry, usually one of the busiest during this period, was shocked by the drastic downturn. One restaurant owner shared.
国庆节啊，兄弟们，我们店今晚只卖了11碗粉。
Tonight, we only sold 11 bowls of noodles. You heard me right, only 11 bowls. There was really no one. Our revenue was about 200 yuan. I've never encountered such a situation. This is the worst record I've had in my entire career. I remember last year's holiday. The business was still pretty good. So how could the contrast be so huge? It's just so abnormal. If I had known it would be like this, I would have gone on vacation myself. A day before the holiday, another person uploaded a video predicting a nightmare for restaurant workers nationwide. The video showed a flood of delivery orders and exaggerated comedic cooking actions in the kitchen, accurately foreshadowing the bleak outcome for the restaurant industry this year. In past National Day holidays, our stall alone could make 8,000 to 10,000 yuan, but this year, even with 2 stalls, we couldn't make 1,000 yuan. It's hard to believe. Today, I have to throw away a full bucket of ingredients. A restaurant owner posted a video in disbelief, stating that after 8 days of hard work, he finally had a big order, only for a car to crash into his store, shattering the door and kitchen glass. The poor female driver was left in a daze, unable to move. A street vendor selling barbecue threw all his ingredients away, repeatedly saying, "I'm declaring bankruptcy, I'm done, I can't keep going. The best thing this year is just to do nothing, stop overthinking. I've lost all my capital, everything's going to waste." A person commented that the government has ruined the economy to this point, and yet still doesn't allow young people to just lie flat, treating it as a form of rebellion against the authorities. This, they said, is utterly shameless. In May, the popular influencer Chongqing Bachelor Brother announced that, due to circumstances that he cannot control, the Bachelor Mountain Lodge he and several companions had established would be disbanded. This sparked widespread online discussion. Chongqing Bachelor Brother focused on the concept of lying flat, which is doing nothing. It is organizing a group of older bachelors to live in the mountains, emphasizing rejection of societal pressures, marriage, and working in favor of a happy life. He continued to live stream his lying flat lifestyle, including growing vegetables and raising livestock. In one video, he said, "The economic environment is so bad now. As a person with nothing, I don't have a mortgage, a car loan, or children. Why should I work for you, give my life to you?" Behind him in the video, there was a portrait of Sun Yat-sen hanging on the wall. The Bachelor Mountain Lodge videos became popular among young people in China who embraced the lying flat philosophy, symbolizing a quiet resistance to marriage and societal expectations. The news of the disbandment of the account stirred discussions on X, with people arguing that the authorities were afraid of any spontaneous civilian group activities, especially when it involved unemployed individuals, even if it was just for survival. They expressed frustration that a simple desire to live simply was being forcibly disbanded.
我发现这些人真有意思哎，说躺平会毁了。
I find these people really interesting. They say that lying flat will ruin today's youth. They aren't worried that high housing prices and heavy debt will ruin young people, or that unemployment and workplace stress will destroy them. They're not concerned about various mental health issues harming the youth, but they think that lying flat will ruin them. In reality, both lying flat and competition can ruin a person, but lying flat ruins how others see you, while involution destroys your body. I've heard of people breaking down because of debt from buying a house or a car, but I've never heard of anyone collapsing because they decided to lie flat. If the government is indifferent to the real situation facing young people, but keeps saying things like, "The future holds profits and blessings," young people would rather not have that blessing. A female vlogger who recycles iPads posted a video where she shared a story of a young couple selling their iPad 10 to pay for their rent. They were asking for 1,700 yuan, explaining that it was the money they needed to cover their rent. The vlogger explained she could only offer 1,500 yuan and that her commission would go to them as well. However, the couple said that even with that amount, they will still fall short of the rent. The blogger said that she really wanted to help, but had already done her best. She also warned them that no one would offer a higher price and that the market would drop next week, advising them to sell it soon. The blogger lamented, "Some people spend 10,000 yuan on an iPhone 17, while others sell their iPad 10 just to pay rent. Is this disparity in life really because they didn't try hard enough? One person summed it up. It's not that life has no meaning, it's that being poor makes life feel meaningless. People say that money can't buy happiness, but that's because your small amount can't buy it.
没钱了就是没钱了嘛，又没关系，大到
Being poor is just being poor. Why not admit it openly? Why does being poor always have to be spun into some consumerism issue or made into some awakened concept? During this National Day, everyone is frugal traveling. Even though many people went out, no one was spending. Why? Isn't it because they don't have money in their pockets? If you have money, who wouldn't want to eat well, stay well, and use the best? Just like when we were young, why were our parents so frugal? Why did they walk just 1 or 2 bus stops instead of taking a bus? It was because they didn't have money. We've all been through days without money. The Chinese have had long periods of being poor. It's not something to be ashamed of. Just admit it, and things will be easier. Only by admitting that you're poor now can you work on solving the problem and make yourself rich. I really don't understand why so many people online are so hypocritical, always looking for a more dignified excuse for everything. Many young people are now expressing that they are the unluckiest generation in China. Not only can they not afford to travel, but even having enough money for daily meals is a big issue. Their lives feel like they're just passing through, waiting for a miracle that may never come.